Dean's Adventure on Timber Mountain. So what you see is the layout of the timber log home. 4,000 square feet, and we are about to lay the PEX system. So we decided to go with a water system and not a glycol system. And what you're seeing now is all the tubes, oxygenated tubes going into what will eventually be the panel to distribute all the water through the system to heat the floor. To do that, we got to make a boiler. So today I started to cut my plates 3/8 all through this boiler build. It's a big job. If you can get all the pieces cut beforehand, it will save you a lot of work. But you know what? It's a good learning curve, a good experience. And other than maxing out my plasma cutter, it was pretty good. So it took me about 15 minutes to cut one plate because of the thickness, 3/8 thickness. I used mild steel for the build. It's a lot more flexible than trying to use stainless and mild steel altogether because they react differently to heat. Now we're putting the feet onto the boiler. So what you see is the plate is upside down. I made 4 legs, 2 by 2 by 1/4 inch, and found out that I needed another 2, which you'll see in pictures further on. Also, we are starting to put in the inlets and outlets for the water coming in and out of the boiler. One thing is to plan your cuts, and to place your bungs or your couplings, if you want, cut in half, in the right spot. Unfortunately, I did a small mistake and I placed the bungs underneath the firebox and not in the water jacket. But it actually came out to a good thing because we are using them for evacuation places. So that's why you see a whole bunch of holes here. So each end, so the 2 outer holes you see are actually the water jacket holes, which will be the suction side. You also see now we are starting the walls of the firebox. They're very important. They measure 4 by 4. The firebox measures 4 by 4 by 4 actually, and the water jacket is 5 by 4 by 4. So we are increasing the firebox by a foot on each side and whatnot. So the sides of the fire, we're going to go through that. This is just to show the size of the firebox. Also, what you're seeing on the left and right side is the mounts for the fire brick, which we will be putting in there. And they also act as a reburn. So the tubes that are going through that hole, or the holes you see, have little holes in it. So as a smoke or vapor barrier, or the you call it the unburnt gases, go up and through the chimney style, they get reburnt. So it's a better process. It burns a little cleaner. And this is the look of the tubes in place with the fire brick on top. You'll notice also the small holes in the tubes to let the air or the gases in to have that reburn. Also, you'll notice the smokestack inlet or outlet if you want. So this is 6-inch diameter outlet. It was actually I was able to get a stainless elbow stainless steel, which is a lot nicer. And the fire brick I used 12 by 12 by 2 inch fire brick, which actually worked out pretty good in the firebox. So what ends up happening is the fire burns, let's say in the background, comes up around, and as it hits the air inlets of these tubes, they actually reburn. So it's again a cleaner burn, and then they come up around. So the burn is a actually pretty efficient burn. We're still playing a little bit with the times. It should be very close to 4 to 6 hours right now. Also, when I'm doing the welding, I'm trying to do the easiest. So I flip the boiler over to do easy welding. This is why you'll see the tractor coming in and out a little bit. You'll also see we welded the back plate, and we also welded rebar on the sides of the burner or the firebox. That is to transition the heat from inside the firebox to the water jacket, which is not quite built yet. If you look a little bit better, you'll see there's still ledges. And here we are putting the finishing touches on the water jacket. So easier to weld on a flat surface rather than vertical surface in this case. Again, the size, it's a pretty big boiler. So we're it's funny to see. Plus the stainless chimney stack that we're going. Now we're starting to cut out the front panel, which is the door. I tried to make it 24 by 24. I came pretty close. And we're using the plasma cutter to cut out the square. We actually use the panel to make the door at the same time. So what we're using is 1.25 inch angle iron welded to the opening. And then on the other side, we weld the same 1.25 inch on the outside of the panel, which creates a good opening. Again, we're using what we got. So I had 1.25 inch square tube and 1 inch round rod, which we used as hinges. So it creates a nice solid hinge, as you can see here. And I can remove the door if I ever have to do any modifications. Again, any stove or firebox needs to be how do you say that? And not insulated, but sealed as much as possible. So we're using a fireproof sealing cord. I had to use two sizes because of a little bit of clearance on the back side, as you can see, different colors. So I used 1.25 inch in the front and 3/4 inch in the back, which did well. So this is our first test. We set the boiler onto its base, a 6x6 base, and we tried it out. It wasn't bad, but we found out that the air that we were cut out to wasn't enough. We had to leave the door open. So we had to make some more inlets for the fire to breathe. And in the next picture, you're going to see I cut out some 4x6s in the plate, and I devised a system so it was one handle to open and close or adjust the inlet of the firebox. Also in the background, you'll see in the firebox, I use some rebar to make, if you want a wood cradle or something to keep the wood off the ground and keep the coals underneath, and it works fairly good. We have so I have two 4x6s, which should be I would say pretty close to a 10-inch diameter opening if you were into a circumference of the thing. Also, you'll notice the two small inlets, those are the reburn. So as the fire gets going, it sucks in air and reburns. Also, because of the weight of I'm up about 2,000 pounds, my little tractor L39 Kubota could only actually pull it out. He couldn't actually lift it. We had to scrape it out of the garage to get it out for its second testing. So also, we have to bring the lines from the home to the firebox or fire boiler, or so we took the excavator, dug 24-inch all the way through. I'm very happy with it. The PEX that you see here will be going into the actual panel for the distribution. That will be in another video. If you want to see the setup that we had there and the work we did, it's interesting to see, and it's worth waiting a little bit in the next video. So what we're using here is 1.25" straight. I would recommend, if you ever do it, never buy the coil. Buy the straight. The price is the same, but the straight pipe is a lot easier to put into the system. So go straight. Also, we had to insulate it. Unfortunately, the pipe that they usually sell is $10 a foot. Well, I had insulation, solid insulation, and I cut out 6-inch squares. And as you can see here, I beveled 2 slots to put the PEX into. So the beautiful thing about that, it's easy, it's cheap, and when we measured our boiler to the panel, we actually found no drop in temperature. So if I got, let's say, 30 Celsius going out of the boiler and it got to the panel at 30 Celsius, we're doing pretty good. That means this cheap system is working as good, if not better, than the insulated stuff that they sell. So we're very happy with the progress right now and what we're doing. A little trial and error, but we're getting there. We also, at the same time, put in some electrical there. It's a 4-conductor. So we have one conductor going for the pump, and then later on, we're going to be putting a light once we get the cabin over the boiler. Will be a light there. As you can see here, it's heavy. I needed the excavator to put it back on the base on the second try. You'll notice there's 6 feet and not 4 feet, which is why. And not only that, to get it out, we needed to take off the doors and the fiber. So here we have the chimney, and it's installed. Unfortunately, for chimneys, some of the clamps I ended up making my own, because I found that the small stainless clamps that they have on this type of chimney weren't solid enough. And then there's also the 2 adjustable supports, if you want. I was able to attach that to that, so the chimney's not coming down, and that's what we need. You'll notice the 2 green hoses are actually inlets into the boiler, and if you notice, the red on the left side of the bottom of the boiler is actually the pump, which is feeding the panel into the log home. Also, what you're not seeing in the background or in the back of the wood boiler is that we have a gravity system to tell me where the water is in the water jacket of the boiler. So that's very important if you need to add water or not. And we add the water through the distribution panel in the house. There's a inlet there, and we just add water, and we know exactly where the boiler is sitting. The next picture will be me making clamps. Very easy. You stick a piece of tubing, flat bar, bend the 2 ends, and then start curving the clamps to the size you need. And it's easy. You do your normal math thing, which is 3/14/17 times your diameter, gives you the circumference that you need to make your actual flat bar. In this case, I use the 3-inch by 1/8. Makes it solid, and it's a good support to hang your brackets off to support the whole chimney, if you want, in this case. What I did wrong in this next video is I created a pressure vessel. And the reason for that is we added water to the boiler system, and there was no way to cool down the water that was in there because it wasn't hooked up to the panel. So make sure that you create a exit so that there is no pressure buildup. Next is the boiler in action. We're very happy with it. We actually started out a 9-day run, and we started out with, I believe, I think it was a 5-degree internal heat of the actual house. And next thing you know, we're up to 12 degrees and then 20 degrees Celsius, which is 68 Fahrenheit, just for anybody else who's in the Fahrenheit or whatever. So, believe it or not, what's coming out of this boiler is 30 to 31 degrees, and what's going into the house is 30 degrees. So, everything's really coming right up. As you see me doing the thermometer gun, the top of the boiler is 24, and we're back down. When we go down the water jacket, we're actually increasing from 28 to 29 degrees, or in this case, 82 to 84 Fahrenheit. So we're doing pretty good. And the Firebox actually is 109 Celsius, 228 Fahrenheit. It's pretty hot in there. Don't stick your fingers in there. And the door actually is 133 Celsius, or 271 degrees. So it's doing a good job. So we're happy with the system. It's working good. A little bit of trial and error with the wood. We had a whole bunch of garbage. We wanted to see if it had burned white pine or hardwoods, and it'll burn everything. So our burn times are very close to 4 to 6 hours, and we're still playing with it a little bit with the new vents in the inlets, if you want, of the boiler. It's doing good. I've almost got it closed off there. I wanted to see how much time I could get out of it. It's a trial and error a little bit. The idea was to try and get, in this case, if you looked at YouTube videos and whatnot, your optimum size of boiler, if you want, was anywhere from 250 gallon to 300 gallon, and the Firebox in about what I have it there. It's 443 about. So we're doing good in that instance. We attained, I actually figured it out. We were doing about 270 gallon, and it turns it over pretty fast. Um, the small holes that I did in the handle in the front, you'll see there's a little bit of a, that was to bring air in, but now it actually serves as a viewing point to see where the fire is. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. In the next video, if you are interested, we will be hooking up the boiler to the panel for the hot water in-floor PEX system. Just a little teaser. This is what it looks like. So we will be going through in depth how we did it. Join us. Thank you very much.